All right, daily update for SoFi today. Quite the move from the very open. I had some 1250 puts yesterday. Thought there was a good chance we'd go down to $12 again, based on the options and just the chart in general. And instead, we flew all the way to almost like 13. What was the high here? 1328, 1330, something like that. We flew pretty crazy how high we went today. I think it had to do with Upstart's earnings. They went up like 20 or 30% today, and the fintech sector is connected at the hip, and so whatever happens with one earnings usually tanks the other one. So not sure why we're still connected to non-banks, but maybe after this earnings coming up on March 1st that will change, and we'll start moving at our own pace. So I think it had to do with Upstart's earnings, and we'll see if that holds. If they retrace tomorrow, that would actually make a lot of sense for SOFI to fall here, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. That I'm still bearish overall on the stock for at least like the next 4 or 5 days. And what I'm looking at here is two levels, 1355 and 1342, I think. Those two levels right there, if we break those, then that would change things. Then I would think that we are in a bullish move and we can go higher right now instead of waiting going into earnings. However, I'm still sticking with what I have right here so far. We had 1, A, B, and then we're starting C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. It will just turn into a regular flat. And so if it breaks above here, then that theory is completely gone. That won't happen, or that shouldn't happen, because that'd be bullish. Until then, that's what I think is going to happen. It's pretty simple. And if you take, let's say this was 1, 2, and we're starting a third wave. If you take a parallel line from here, you'll see, if you clone it and put it up here, you'll see that for this to be a valid third wave, it's got to really get up to about 15 bucks. I don't know if you guys have looked at the options volume and open interest this week. I don't see it happening this week. 13, 14, 15. There's no catalyst this week for it to go that much higher, unless it's just a random move. And we have so many calls by, I just don't see it happening. I see it falling back under 13 bucks. And 1250 had more puts than calls, so maybe somehow they hold it up above 1250 for the end of the week. But if anything, I'm expecting it to go lower from here. I closed out 2 sets of puts today for a loss, unfortunately, but they're small losses, and I figured that it could run after drawing this line all the way up to about 1330-ish. And it did. I didn't catch it at the very top. I bought some puts from 13 to 1310, and I'm looking for the next move. I'm not looking for a third wave to be the full 1.61. That would not make very much sense for me. That would be a $2 drop. Don't see that happening anytime soon. And I'm starting to get more bullish on the overall market. And so what makes the most sense is still a regular flat where we come down in this area about where A is. So that would take us maybe 1.23 of the first wave, and then bounce to about 1180, 1190, and then come back down here to about 1140, 1130, 1150-ish, something like that. And this right here, this second wave, makes me even more confident that we won't see a 1.61, which would bring us all the way down to 11, because it came all the way close to the very start of wave 1. And usually if you see a 1.61 move, it only retraces 50 to 60%. So that's basically what I think is going to happen. So third wave probably somewhere around in here. Fourth wave, maybe back up in here. I'm thinking like 1190. So something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. and then 5 maybe down here, 1140. And that's too far out though. Let's see. This is going to be maybe by next Monday. So that would be the 21st or the 22nd. Do we not have trading on the 21st? Huh. Okay. And then maybe bounce by the 23rd, 24th. And then maybe a 5th wave down by the 25th or so. I would say more like the 24th, maybe 23rd here. So maybe the 3rd wave will happen because you think about it, earnings they're on March 1st, which is less than 2 weeks away. It's only 13 days away. So if we go down and do a 3rd wave by the 18th, 4th wave by the Monday, or the Tuesday, I'm sorry, and then we get the 5th wave maybe by the 23rd to 24th, that gives us about 5 or 6 days to start just melting up. Maybe go from here all the way, maybe go up here somewhere, maybe like 12.50, 13 bucks into earnings. And I think that's a pretty good level for not being overly bearish or overly bullish for pretty much everyone. Like earnings can go either way. If we just sink into earnings or we rise heavily into earnings, I mean, it's going to be a really hard to be bullish or bearish either way. I think we need to be in a neutral area going into earnings, and there's a lot of open interest on calls from, I think, from like 14 to 15 and maybe even $13 calls. So this makes a lot of sense strategically and by the chart standards. I'm watching the level of 1342 and 1355-ish. If we don't break those, I think we definitely come down here to about 1130, 1150. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll update this tomorrow like I have been every day. And let me know if you have any tickers that you want to be looked at. And like and subscribe. I'll talk to you in the next video.